Hi, we're Richard and Jackie from Early Retirement Wanderlust.
And we're about to set off on a 7-week adventure backpacking around Thailand at the age of 53, and we ain't done anything like this before.
So in this video we thought we would share with you some of the thoughts behind our planning and what we're going to be doing. So for those of you that are new to the channel, we are Richard and Jackie. We have been early retired for just over 2 years now, and we called ourselves Early Retirement Wanderlust because we wanted to get out and explore the world that is around us.
We normally travel around in our VW campervan, and we have done that all around Europe and the UK. We've done a few trips, not in the campervan, but a few trips over to North America. But something we've never done before is travel to Southeast Asia.
There is a little bit of trepidation. It just feels so far out of our comfort zone, but I am so excited for what we're going to do.
So what we want to do in this video is to just take you through the planning process, give you an idea of how we got to this situation and the ideas that we've got for our trip, and how we've just organised our plans, because we're setting off in a couple of days' time and it's all just getting very, very real.
So why have we actually chosen to travel to Thailand? Earlier on in the year, when we did our goal setting videos, I had mentioned that I would like to try and visit a new continent that we've never been to before. And one of the things that we do struggle with when we do our campervan travelling is trying to work out all of the Schengen days. So we decided later in October we would visit somewhere different. And Thailand is the place that immediately sprung to mind for various reasons.
It's fair to say it's put us completely outside our comfort zone. We've never been to Southeast Asia. Culturally, it is so different to anywhere we've travelled before. Having done research about it, nothing seems normal to us. We don't know what we're going to eat. We don't know where we're going to go. We can't even recognise the alphabet. We know nothing about the language. So we're in an ideal position to put ourselves completely outside our comfort zone.
And to be fair, one of the main reasons Southeast Asia came to mind is the costs. The flights are quite expensive to get out there, but from all the research we've done and already some of the accommodations that we've booked, it is a lot cheaper than some of the holidays that we've taken to America. And actually, I am just so excited that we're going backpacking. I've bought a new rucksack, Rich is using his old one, and we've just got a few bits of clothes, a couple of pairs of shoes, our passports, some money, and who knows where it's going to take us. We have booked the first couple of weeks, but we have 5 weeks of total unknown still.
So we never travelled when we were younger. We went straight from school to university to working to having a family. So now is our moment, and within the next couple of days, that moment is getting very real. So
we booked the trip through Trail Finders. The main reason being you can actually book your flights and you can book your hotels as part of a package, and you don't have to pay for that till closer to the time, so it gave us more time to save. And we are flying from Manchester, which is obviously closer to the Yorkshire Dales. It is slightly more expensive than if we'd chosen to go from Heathrow, but we would have had to pay for trains and hotels. The bonus from going from Manchester is that we get to go on the big posh Airbus 380, which I am so excited about.
And we're flying with Emirates, which feels really posh for us. It's a nice way of putting us out of our comfort zone, and we're really looking forward to that experience, particularly on the big plane. We're doing a couple of flights, so we're going via Dubai, and there's about a 3-hour stopover. I think I realised how far it was, but Jackie didn't realise how far it was. It's 2 7-hour flights, so it's going to be a long old day in order to get ourselves to Bangkok.
Yeah, I quite naively thought that the second flight was actually only a little hopover from Dubai to Bangkok. I really genuinely thought it was about a 3-hour flight, so yeah, you should have seen my face when I realised it wasn't.
So then when we're in Bangkok, we have paid a little bit more for a hotel than we were particularly planning for, but we figured that it's going to be such a assault on our senses that we needed a little bit of comfort there. We didn't go for what Trail Finders initially recommended, which would have been far too extravagant for us. So we've gone for what I think they described it as the next level down hotel. And it looks lovely, and it's going to give us a base in Bangkok for 5 days. It's going to be a pretty immersive experience, and if you've seen anything on the channel, that you'll know that we're not particularly city people, and from what we believe and what we've seen, Bangkok is like an Uber city on steroids, so we're not quite sure what to expect.
But we have done lots of research. We've watched lots of YouTube videos. We have talked to friends that have been to Thailand and particularly about Bangkok. So we've got an idea of what we want to do. There's lots of temples that we want to visit. We want to go on a cruise down the river just so that you can do the sightseeing bit. Yeah, I think the 5 days will actually go quite quick, and I think we might just have got used to the culture and the lifestyle by the end of the 5 days, and then we're moving on.
Yeah, and if we love it or we loathe it, at least we'll know. And because at the moment we don't know, we've never been there. And then we just had some provisional plans. Ideally, we wanted to go up north to Chiang Mai and Chiang Rai, and because there's so much history up there, and it's just a little bit wilder and a little bit more mountainous. But we had to knock those plans on the head.
Yeah, about 2 weeks ago, there was a travel warning and advisory on the British government website because there was extreme flooding up in the northern areas. The flooding has gone, but I was a bit worried about the fact that a lot of the places we wanted to visit, some of the elephant sanctuaries, had severe flooding, and usually 2 weeks later, which is when we will be there, comes the mosquito life cycle. So I was really worried about that, and just maybe the potential risk of disease. And if we love being in Thailand, it's just something that we can save to go up there again, another trip.
So we're going to be leaving Bangkok and just doing a little short transfer, and we're again going to put ourselves outside our comfort zone and get ourselves there. We're going to the bridge over the River Kwai for a little bit of a history break, and we are going straight from a posh hotel to a really basic hotel, and then we're quite looking forward to that. Couple of days there, and then we are going to go back to Bangkok and catch a flight south to Koh Lipi.
Richard didn't mention, when we get back to Bangkok, I think we've probably booked the cheapest hotel we will have ever stayed in. I think it's come in at £9 for the night, but it's right by the airport and it looks lovely, so we'll see how that goes. Koh Lipi. We are flying right down to one of the most southern islands that's near Malaysia. And actually, this is probably one of the only solid plans that we've got. We've got a week on Koh Lipi, mainly so that we can sort of chill out, recover from a few days in Bangkok, which I think we're going to need. And it has got pictures of the most stunning beaches. And from some of the videos that we've watched, it just seems to be one of the more chilled out islands.
And then we're going to slowly make our way north. Doing some island hopping. From what we believe, we can book ferries on the day or within 24 hours notice, and we booked probably in total about 18 days out of the 7 weeks, because we do want to keep things open, and that's as far as we've got.
So we've got 5 weeks where we have no idea where we'll be going. We've got a rough plan of where we might like to go. Some of the areas are perhaps still under monsoon season because we want to go to Koh Samui and I think they call it the Gulf side.
Yeah.
But we're just going to leave it open. Who knows? We might even fly across to Vietnam. I don't think so. I think I want to get used to Thailand first. But the world will be our oyster at that point. We'll have settled in and we'll know more what we want to do from that point, and just taking advice from travellers along the way.
And we ultimately know we need to catch a flight out of Phuket, which is again in the south of the country. And that's exactly where we're up to in terms of our plans so far. In terms of accommodation, we are doing most of our bookings through booking.com, and that is through advice from people who have been to Thailand before and also everything that is on YouTube. It looks so easy and convenient, and everything that we've booked so far seems to be okay and in place. And we are looking at a range of accommodations.
So Trailfinders did book us, which I think they count as a 3-star hotel in Bangkok, and it looks really plush, and we did pay a little bit more than the rest of the hotels that we've booked. On Koh Lipi, we have booked a hostel. We've got a double room within the hostel, but it does look like a really quite upper market hostel. But I'm looking forward to that because it's got a huge community room where hopefully we'll meet lots of the other backpackers and travellers, because that's what it's about, meeting people. We've also booked a little beach resort that was maybe a little bit more expensive. That was about £60.
And the way that booking.com is so fantastic, and this is not a sponsored video in any way, is that you can just set your budget. So we set our budget as a maximum of £40 a night, and then we can look up to that point or way down from that point. And what we've found is there's a cut-off point round about the £30 a night where you get air conditioning, and if you go less than £30 you don't get air conditioning. And for the first few places we stay in, we definitely want aircon, but we're quite willing to dip lower and just see how we go once we get acclimatized.
Oh yeah, I've got my eye on a couple of really gorgeous looking, really cute bungalows that are right on the beach, but they just have a little fan and a mosquito net. But they are only about £20 a night. What could go wrong? The best way to book your internal bits of travel are through a app called 12Go Asia. So we've already put our foot in the water and we've booked a couple of bits, mainly flights from Bangkok down to the airport that's near Koh Lipi, which is our longest stretch. But apparently the 12Go Asia app is brilliant for sorting out your ferries, and if you put one destination in and where you want to go to, it will tell you the combinations of ferries and buses that you need to take and give you a variety of options. It looks great. Most people that have used the app said that it works out really well. A lot of the transfers the bus will wait for the ferry so you don't get stranded. So fingers crossed.
And it's, again, something that is going to be completely outside our comfort zone, because we're adamant we want to travel like locals. So we want to use buses, we want to use ferries, and hopefully that's all going to connect. There are some pretty long transfers, but all of them seem unbelievably cheap, and I suppose that makes us maybe a little bit more worried that if it's unbelievably cheap it's going to be really challenging, but that's all part of the experience.
It is, it's part of the fun, and one of the reasons we chose Thailand particularly is that it's supposed to be really cheap. The accommodation's cheap, the transfers and the travel so that you can get around between all the islands is cheap. Hopefully it'll keep us on budget.
And for me, who's the epitome of planner, I just need to try and loosen my grip on it and just get into Thailand time, which they talk a lot about, and the buses, as Jackie said, they may not always run to time, but you'll get there in the end. And yeah, we've just got to loosen up a bit.
Richard does. At one point when we were looking at booking some of the accommodations, he had his spreadsheet out, which he loves, and you were wanting to keep booking more and more. You kept researching different islands, and I just had to say, actually no, because you don't want to be stuck to an itinerary where you know exactly where you're going to go. Something different might come up that we want to do, so we need to leave it open.
Can I point out that this was done less than 2 weeks ago, maybe 10 days ago, where we had nothing in place, and I think at that point we both had a sharp intake of breath and bit of realization and said, yeah, maybe we do need to just have an idea of where we're going, certainly in that first sort of couple of weeks. So at least we've got that in place. That makes me sleep a little bit better at night, and the spreadsheet is on its way. One of the things we did have to get organised, and we haven't had to do for many, many years, is sort out our travel vaccinations, and Jackie just loves this.
Our local doctor's surgery actually has been brilliant with this. We had to have all of our UK standard vaccines updated. So we've had tetanus, polio, Hep A, and all the standard ones that you can get through the NHS. And then we've had to go to Boots because it was the only place locally that we could get the rabies injections. There seems to be a whole countrywide shortage of rabies injections, and we've had to have the Japanese encephalitis injections. Both of them were advised because we're travelling for more than 4 weeks. Apparently if you go for less than 4 weeks, the mosquitoes know that you've only been there for less than 4 weeks and you don't have to have them. So deciding what we need to pack has brought out one of Richard's obsessions for research, and he has spent hours on YouTube trying to work out what we really need to take.
I love it. It's absolutely amazing. There are so many different rabbit holes to go down. I have done research on carry-on only. I've done research on what you need in your day sack. I've done research on what you need for your extended trips, and it is amazing. So let's go upstairs and see what we're packing. When it comes to airline travel to destinations that are warm, we're not actually that experienced at it, and we're certainly not that used to packing light. So we had a bit of a dry run when we went to Florida, and we just went with cabin baggage only. And we managed okay, and actually it made us realise how little we could get away with. So hopefully we're travelling really light, and then just relying on, the fact that we're going to a country, and if we've forgotten something, we can always buy it when we're out there.
We are probably going to be the oldest backpackers in town. We have bought a rucksack each. Richard's is just the one that he used when he did the Dales Way. I have bought from Decathlon kind of a hybrid rucksack. It folds out like a suitcase, but it's certainly got all the structure in there for us. And that is pretty much it. That's all we're going to travel with, apart from one rucksack between us on the aeroplane.
As Jackie said, we are taking a day sack with us for when we are traveling, and in that, for when we are flying, we have got some emergency clothes, because we want to be super prepared and we want to prepare for every eventuality. And one of those is that your rucksacks that have gone in the hold don't actually arrive. So we don't want to delay what we're doing there. And for the first time ever, at probably the age of 53, we have both got a little bum bag that we are going to keep all our valuables in when we are out and about. These are lovely, amazing ones that we got from REI in America, and they just fold down to pretty much nothing.
On the recommendation from some of you guys, when we were doing packing videos for van life, we invested in some packing cubes, and they have been fantastic. So for this holiday, I'm going to fit all of my clothes into one packing cube that will slide into my rucksack, and then hopefully sort out some of the organised chaos that's going to be in there. So going into my packing cube, we're packing really light. I am only taking with me 6 vest tops, 2 t-shirts, 3 pairs of shorts, and just one little set of gym gear in case I want to do any running when I'm out there.
I love a bit of organisation, and these packing cubes are an absolute revelation. So I've got all my tops and shorts and everything I need in there, all my underwear and socks in there, and they just compress down, so they've got like a double zip round them. They are just a life changer. In terms of travel wear, we are going to be wearing all our clothes that are going to be needed to keep us warm, and then we think after the flight that's going to go in the rucksack and we're never going to visit them again. So I've got a light pair of trousers. I'm going to be taking a lightweight jacket, a t-shirt and trainers, and then the only other footwear I'm going to be taking is flip-flops. So going pretty light, but making sure that we take enough warm clothes for on the flight.
So Richard says he's travelling light with his footwear. I think I am probably overpacking, but I just can't decide. And none of this is big. So I'm taking a pair of Havaianas just for lightweight footwear when we're walking around. I've got my Birkenstocks, and I have got some Teva sandals because I am quite squeamish going into the sea. And I've seen videos where there are stingrays and creatures at the bottom of the sea, so I can do the stingray shuffle, but still go in with some shoes on. I'm also taking a pair of trainers. Now, ideally, I didn't want to, but I have seen quite a few YouTube videos where people have been out on hikes in the jungle, and we do love hiking, and we're hoping to get out a lot. And there are leeches about, and I really don't want to have any leeches on my feet. So, and actually, they're better for me than wearing some of my other kinds of shoes. And something that I definitely need to make sure I've got with me is modest clothing. We want to do a lot of touring around some of the sites, particularly in Bangkok, and you need to cover your shoulders and your knees. So I have got a short sleeve shirt that I will put on top of my vest tops. I'm going to talk about a couple of home comforts that I'm taking with us. We are backpacking, and we are going to try some of the cheaper end of the accommodations. So something I am going to take with us is pillowcases, because at least if you turn up and the bedding doesn't look quite as clean as I might want it, I know that my head is against a nice clean pillowcase. The other thing I'm going to pack with me is just our little coffee dripper and some filters. So wherever we are, if we can get hot water, at least we can have a decent cup of coffee.
Because we are wanting to just keep doing our YouTube on the road, that has various technical requirements, and I've got a couple of tech bags with all the gear that we actually need. It's further complicated in the fact that obviously we are working on a different electricity system. So something that I've purchased here is a complete universal adapter. It's an amazing piece of tech. I'm hoping that it works well over there. It's basically a posh plug converter, but it's also got 4 USB outputs. So by using this one thing, hopefully we'll be able to charge quite a lot of our devices and all the stuff that we use with our YouTube.
So we have got a wash bag. We have only got tiny little travel products in there because we're actually staying in hotels and hostels most of the time, so we won't need to travel around with lots of toiletries with us. So just a few bits and pieces that we would need. Something that we are taking with us though is lots of suntan lotion. One of the things that we've we've seen in our research is that potentially the sun lotion, if it's not authentic, the UV filters in it might not be quite the same as we're used to, and I burn quite easily. I've also bought to take with me some Factor 50 suntan face lotion because seemingly as I get older I seem to catch the sun here a lot more, and I want to be prepared. We have got the trusty bug juice after sun lotion that hopefully will help protect us a little bit from the creatures, but we are going to buy some bug juice out there because something we have heard is to make sure that you are covered in it day and night so that you avoid the mozzies.
It may sound a little bit alarmist, but we are taking plenty of meds with us just to make sure that we are prepared. I've got a bag of stuff here that's all things bug related, because if anyone's going to get bitten, it's absolutely me that's going to get bitten. I am just bug bait. So we have got some bug juice, we have got antihistamines, which really help me out when I've been bitten, and we've got one of these little bug zappers where if you do get bitten, not quite sure how it works, but you just sort of zap yourself at the bite point and it just takes the inflammation down. So that's all our bug stuff. And we've also got some general medicines like painkillers, and we've also been warned that we need to prepare ourselves for the inevitable food poisoning. So we have got some Imodiums and we've got some fluid replacement stuff, just so that we know we could always buy it out there, but we've always got it with us just in case. And then finally, we've just got a general purpose first aid kit that we take with us everywhere that's got all your bits and bobs that you could potentially need.
So there's only a few more little things that are going to go in my rucksack. First of all, a little bit of hand travel wash so that we can wash our underwear and a few bits and pieces along the way. Hopefully we'll just be able to pick up laundry services apart from that. I have got my sunglasses. Me and Richard have got some matching ones. You'll have to wait to see them. We've got Pass the Pigs just in case we need to while away a few hours. We've got, I think at least 12 hours on the aeroplanes each way. I've got a Kindle and a couple of travel books. Something that I am taking with me is my little black book, because I do try and record everything that we spend so we can actually work out how much a trip has cost us. So I've got that with me just so I can keep going on the road knowing what we've spent.
And the final bits and bobs, we are not packing traditional towels, but we are taking some lightweight towels. You can tell that Jackie has got the posh one. I've got the old outdoor one, but that suits me fine. We're both going to be taking some sort of sun hat. I did invest in a new stupid hat for me to wear all the time, but it keeps the sun off my ears and off my nose where I just burn terribly. And then I picked up a couple of things from the internet that they advise that you take. So we're going to be doing quite a few long journeys. The last time I took a long flight, my neck was in absolute bits because I just don't sleep well. So I've got one of those inflatable neck pillows, which I'm hoping will sort me out a treat. And then to try and starve off the potential for food poisoning, I've also got myself a little spork. So I'm going to look completely weird, I know that perhaps, but you never know when you just want to keep your hands away from your mouth and use something clean to eat. One of the things that we are planning on doing is when we're out in Thailand to try and be a little bit more vloggy in style and a little bit more sort of talking to camera and just trying to be a little bit more impromptu. It's not something that comes natural, but just be aware that that's what we're going to try and do, because it's something that we said at the start of the year that we wanted to get better at. So we're going to put ourselves out there a little bit.
And that's it. We have checked in online this afternoon, very excited. We've chosen our seats on the big Airbus. At the moment, there's no one sitting next to us, so fingers crossed for tomorrow. And that's it, we are ready to go.
So the next time you'll hear from us, we will be on our way and we are going to try and document our journey and the big Airbus and get into Bangkok, and we are going to be completely outside our comfort zone. So we'll see you later. Bye.
Bye.